If I didn't care for fun and such, I'd probably amount to much. But I shall stay the way I am, because I do not give a damn. Charis is the goddess of pleasure, of festivals, of hedonism, and of cats. She is also known as the dancing lady, as the patroness of fest halls, the lustful mistress, the tawny temptress, the succubus of sensation, the mother of cats, and the feline of felicity. Or in Mulhorand, she is also known by the name of Bast. Charis appears as a beautiful woman of any form and shape that she may choose to adopt, and yet she always possesses a feline grace, and she will constantly preen herself to maintain the highest standard of beauty. While in Mulhorand she appears as a tall woman with the head of a cat. The earliest accounts of Charis describe her as Bast, the Mulhorandi goddess of cats, and as the lieutenant of Anhur, the war god who battled against the wicked Set, god of serpents. At some point, Bast absorbed the portfolio of Felidai, a primitive, bestial god of felines, of nomads, and of sensual pleasure. Filled with a new sense of wanderlust, Bast began to travel across the length and the breadth of Faerun, and to spread her worship far and wide. During her travels, she also consumed the power of Zandala the Dancer, a goddess worshipped among the wild elves, and thus acquired the portfolio of intense and passionate love. After the fall of the ancient elvish empire of Mithranor, Bast began to experiment with the darker aspects of pleasure, and thus fell under the influence of Shar, the goddess of the night. Thus Bast became Charis, Shar's right hand, who assassinated Ibrandel, the Kalashite god of the Underdark, and thus allowed the mistress of the night to incorporate his worshippers into her own cult. During the time of troubles, Shar directed Charis to assassinate Sune, the goddess of love. But the Lady of Love doused the mother of cats with a chalice filled with waters from the Evergold, the fountain of youth from which elves had gained their beauty and their longevity. The sacred waters lifted the darkness from Charis's eyes, and the dancing lady was freed. Free to pursue and to delight in all earthly pleasures. As well as seeking her own satisfaction, Charis enjoys bestowing pleasure upon others, causing her to be viewed by some more conservative faiths as an evil temptress. Though the judgmental parties are more often than not merely compensating for their own guilty pleasures. However, her bad reputation is not helped by her hobby of latching onto mortals to exhaust their deepest desires and then discarding them by the wayside. But as far as Charis is concerned, it's all in good fun. Interpersonally, Charis still maintains the old relationships she kept from her time as Bast. Her connection to her former captain Anhur often ignites into passionate love as frequently as it cools into abject indifference. Her mutual opposition to Set remains, though, and she keeps close to Nobanian, the god of feline nobility, by their similar portfolios. Though she often does more to annoy than to impress the King of Lions, who tolerates her attentions in a typically cat-like manner. As Charis, she has also made allies of Sune, of Malil, the Lord of Music, of Selune, the Moon Goddess, of Hanali Selenil, the Elven Goddess of Beauty, and of Lyra, the Lady of Joy, all of whom are of a temperament to appreciate Charis's inclination to turn from affection to coldness, and then back again as easily as the tides ebb and flow. While her enemies include Shar and Leviatha, the goddess of pain. Indeed, against both, Charis bears both teeth and claws without a shred of mercy. Charis makes her home in Avendor, on the first layer of the plane of Arborea, enticing her followers with a chance to join the gods and the followers of the elven pantheon within that ancient land of pristine and youthful beauty. Charis is a demigod, and her chaotic good alignment represents her pursuit of pleasure as the ultimate ethic. Reflecting her inspired and her playful moods, she often grants her clerics the light or the trickery domains, though when her wrath is stirred, she has also been known to endow a cleric with the war domain. She also offers the power to turn and to destroy undead, while her chosen weapon is the cat's paw, which her divine casters imitate by training in the claw bracer, a weapon that has the properties of a dagger without the ability to throw it. Her holy time is the evening, and her casters pray for spells at dusk, as the lure of the night beckons. Her followers are collectively known as Charesan, and they include sex workers who take pride in their work, as well as the exorbitantly wealthy and idle seekers of luxury, as well as a number of former followers of Joaquin, the Lady of Wealth, who some time ago split from their prior faith to follow Lyra, but were then tempted away from simple pleasures to pursue more refined tastes in Charis. In Malharand, her followers are somewhat more austere, being those who combat Set and are known for rewarding their warriors with rich nights of deserved luxury. The Charesans celebrate a never-ending series of festivals known as the Endless Revel. They celebrate the phases of the moon, the changing of the seasons, anniversaries of any event, and the rising and the setting of the sun. All are invitations for a sumptuous revel. But the peak of the never-ending festivity occurs on Midsummer's Eve on the 30th of Flame Rule, when all inhibitions fall by the wayside, and the pursuit of pleasure knows no limits. Being a young faith, her clerical organization is fluid and without clear hierarchies. But it is not uncommon to find one or two of her specialty priests, known as Sensates, among the leadership of any fest hall across Faerun. Sensates often multi-class as bards, and their clerical vestments vary greatly, depending upon the season, their mood, the vagaries of local fashions, and what elements of style best accentuate the wearer's natural beauty. But the old stereotype of the scantily dressed adventurer belongs in the imaginations of lively and amorous bards. For when the Charesin go into battle, they dress in the most all-encompassing and best sets of armor they can afford, so as to protect their beauty from harm. Though nothing prevents them from decorating said armor liberally. Charis worship is common in Waterdeep, in Kalimshan, and all across the Sword Coast, as well as the residual worship of Bast in Mulhrand. But do not think that her worship is unpopular. Merely observe that very few can afford to pursue it. Although Charis sponsors no formal knightly orders nor great guilds of followers, save, of course, her role in facilitating the much-needed unionization of sex workers, she does possess a secret sisterhood known as the Eyes of the Evening, who worship her and the moon goddess Selune side by side. Secretly, they are an organization of werecats who hunt the followers of Leviathan and Shar beneath the full moon. In my world, the division in portfolios between Charis and Lyra have become increasingly pronounced along class lines. For Lyra epitomizes the unburdened joy of dancing barefoot through broad meadows, of toes sinking into the soft earth, and of unassuming fruit plucked straight from the tree. She is the love of life as experienced by rural peasants, whose lives are incomparable to the sophisticated pursuit of pleasures that are found only in high society, among noble courts, and are guarded by the excessively wealthy. For those elite pleasures belong to Charis. The escalation of this distinction emerges in the wake of the divine spell plague, for now there is enough food, land, and wealth for all to be happy, and yet the old antediluvian orders prevail, and luxuries remain bottlenecked among the nobility, creating an esoteric market where the diversions of the elite are bounded only by their imaginations. Therefore, as the religion of Siamorph, the goddess of nobility, ascends, accompanying the belief in the divine right of kings, noble lords come to more resemble the pharaohs of Charis's Mulhrandi homeland in becoming the representatives of divine authority on earth, while the lascivious moon of Charis's purring satisfaction waxes bright over the realms of heterodoxy. The dogma, or should I say, the katma, of the Charisan religion is as follows. Life is meant to be lived to the fullest in decadent and sensual fulfillment of yourself and of others. Goodness is pleasurable, and pleasure is good. Life is one endless revel, wherein pleasure is to be sought out at every chance. Bring joy to all who suffer, and spread the bounty of Charis, so that all may join in the revel of life. And finally, one should try the new as well as the old, for infinite experiences await those who are willing to explore.